Welcome back to the App Squad, everybody. I'm your host, Momo. Alongside me is your other host, Mamba.
Hello.
And this is episode number 52 of the App Squad podcast.
Episode 52.
That is one full year of the App Squad. And are you guys loving this shit or what?
Yeah! That's them. That's them right there. That's not me. We're matching today.
Yeah, but my shit's cooler, so.
Okay.
Guys, one whole year of the App Squad. 52 weeks straight. Same old things. It doesn't feel, I feel like we started it in early January, but maybe that was just the,
well, you gotta remember,
episodes.
we did like a month of recordings that were not good enough.
Not to our standards, because we have high standards here over at the App Squad, folks. And I hope that you understand that.
Yeah. Only the best guests. Only the best
Hosts.
That's why two of them
Plural.
left.
2 hosts, 1 cup. Damn, that's gay as hell.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's gay as
That was
hell.
weird. That was
Who
a
said
weird
that
thing to
shit?
say. What do you foresee for us in the next 52 episodes?
Goddamn, fame. Perhaps fortune.
Shit.
Bitches. I'm married. Maybe bitches for you.
Nah, I'm good.
Sorry, men. How about some boys for you?
Nah, I'm good on that too. Can they get me to GC in Rocket League? War. You guys, what the fuck?
I think that's a you thing. And since it's a you thing, probably not.
And SSL could carry, man.
No. I don't think there's any hope for you.
Okay. Just turning 25, end of a Rocket League career, so it's only downhill from here.
Yeah. Well, you have to have a Rocket League career to end it.
Shit, I get paid for it.
Getting your monthly installments does not count as being paid for play rock. I mean, I guess so.
I get subs.
True.
Of course, I could just play anything else.
Same thing. Well, no, not same thing. Throw a map game on and we'll see how it goes.
I don't know. People kind of like the map games sometimes. Sometimes I usually get like a new follower or 2 off map games, but then they don't hang out for anything
But
else.
I was like, do they come back?
No, they don't. They actually hate it. They hate Rocket League.
Ugh! Bring back the map. Where's the map on this game?
There's no mini map on Rocket League. It's kind of a bitch.
There should be though. Honestly,
There should be. Be cool.
I would like a Rocket League mini map.
It would be cool.
Well, I mean, just imagine if you could like check to see where the other cars were.
I mean, you can just look around.
Nah.
I can't because I'm on keyboard and mouse. But today's guest isn't here yet. He is going to try to sell us something, and you're all going to buy it by the end of this.
I think you guys have to buy it. I think it's just the rules.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how good he is at making things sticky. His words, not mine.
You'll find out more about the guest here shortly, guys. But in the meantime, we want to thank you all for a very good year. I think we did a lot better than we thought that we were going to do. And even if this falls upon deaf ears, we still like doing it. And we're still going to keep doing it. Because fuck you, fuck the haters, fuck anybody. Fuck y'all if you doubt me. I'm a piece of fucking white trash, and I'll say it proudly.
Our first host thought that this show was just going to end when he left.
He thought he carried this show. He did not.
Remember when he did that?
It was a good run. We tried.
We tried. We tried to help him, and then it was over.
It was good while it lasted.
What did he say?
It was good while it lasted.
Oh, is that all he said?
I've legit.
That was
like,
the only indicator.
I've legit quoted like 5 things, and you've just like just kept saying other things.
I don't remember what he said.
Well, I quoted all. Rewind the tapes if you want to hear what he said.
And then our second co-host. He's pretty cool still. He's cooler than the first one.
Still here.
Still
Kinda.
around. Didn't move to Boston. And then burn somebody's house down. And then move back.
He's somewhere. And God help whatever place he's at.
Real.
God, let's hope that he just shows up.
That would be really awkward if you didn't show up.
What do? We
Would we
recorded
just
like
turn this into a
yesterday.
duo?
I mean, we recorded like yesterday.
True.
I mean, we could go over all the fact checking that I did from the last episode.
What? Was there a bunch of stuff wrong?
Literally everything. Everything was wrong. Because I was like, as I was like listening through it, I was just like doing research, and then I was just like, oh my god, this looks so bad.
I love spreading misinformation.
I was like, I'm gonna keep it all in, but this looks so bad.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is we know, we just say whatever we want, man. If you believe every word we say to be true, you are in the wrong
That's your
place.
fault.
Yeah. No, that is crazy.
You're coming here for our takes, and by no means are we, unless we say this is true, and I feel like we're very
Even when I say it's true, I say I think it's true.
unless we say for a fact this is a fact that we have proven by our own research, don't take it for anything but a lie.
Yeah, like I think global warming is real, but you know what I mean? Like it's definitely not, right?
Yeah.
And we're banned.
All right, guys. Today here we have James I. Bond, who is an award-winning novelist. And he's invented something he likes to call brain glue. And I'll let him dive into that a little bit deeper. But James, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm James I. Bond. I think my parents had a sense of humor. I like to say, actually, that I changed my name. My name was actually Fred Flintstone, but that didn't work. No, I'm just kidding. I think my parents had a sense of humor. But yeah, but I figured something out. And it was because my name is James Bond, it drives me nuts sometimes, but that's fine. You know, people get, it took a while, but they remember my name. I can be in a crowd of people and they go, hey, what's your name? Well, I'm Joe. What's your name? Well, I'm James. Actually, my name is James Bond. And they start laughing.
Yeah.
10 years later, I walk into a room and go, hey, there's James Bond. They remember.
I mean,
so it got me thinking of all these, these things, these triggers, and everybody from politicians to advertisers to comedians use it. And so it's really fun.
That is great. I mean, what year were you born in? Because I was doing a little bit of research, and I was just like, James Bond was born in, or like was created like in 1953, I believe.
Yeah, 1 year after mine.
Oh,
I was born in 1952.
So you were the original James Bond then?
I guess. Yeah.
Maybe that's a lawsuit. Maybe you can get some royalties out of them.
I don't know. All I know is it's fun.
Oh yeah, I bet. I mean,
it wasn't fun originally. When the movies started coming out, I can remember people in school going like, hey, James Bond, James Bond. It's like, all right, fine. Although, hey, Sean Connery. So I wrote my book, and people look it up. They look up James Bond, and you get Sean Connery. You get like all these the great guys.
And I'm assuming that's why you put your middle initial in there, so you don't get lost.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, as it's very obvious, you are the writer of the book called Brain Glue. What is brain glue?
So certain things stick to the brain like glue. Let me give you some examples, okay? So we have President John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. There's actually this tool, it's called chiasmus, which is a flip. Like all for one and one for all, There was a song that my wife hated, which was, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. She hated that song. It's like, no, but I mean, it's a flip. And so we didn't land up, Malcolm X said, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock landed on us. And when you hear that, you go like, oh, okay. He also said, when you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, which is a flip. Okay. We have O.J. Simpson got off from an almost certain guilty verdict in a murder trial with, if the glove doesn't fit, you have to acquit. They told the jurors. And so I remember after the trial, there were an interviewer was asking one of the jurors, two of the jurors were sitting there. One of them was nodding her head yes as the other one is explaining this. And he said, with all that evidence against O.J., how come you found him not guilty? And she put a big smile on her face and said, we knew if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. The glove didn't fit. We had to acquit. Rhyme. Okay. Rhyme is really powerful. You have these guys that hated Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread had started in the early 20th century, and they were the first sliced bread ever. You know, we all often say, you know, that's, you know, the greatest, that's the smartest thing since sliced bread. Well, Wonder Bread actually invented sliced bread. And for 10 years, they dominated the bread industry. Well, two of their competitors got really pissed off because they had, like we had COVID. Well, they had this illness called pellagra. And so they came up with this slogan. They said, the whiter your bread, the quicker you're dead. And people went like, what? And suddenly they got newspapers and everything else. And Wonder Bread almost went bankrupt because people stopped eating Wonder Bread. Then they started putting, you know, cool stuff inside it on top of it, you know. And as a result, people came back to eating it, but they never dominated after that. The whiter your bread, the quicker you're dead. What? So there's stuff like that. There's only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked. What? That's Warren Buffett. I work with his team. They brought me in because I'm considered one of America's leading behavioral management specialists, which is pretty cool, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's the title.
Yeah, exactly. And so he has really cool lines, but he uses a lot of the brain glue type tools. But so, yeah, he's basically saying only when times get tough do you realize who's really able to fix stuff, who's capable. But if he said that, people go, yeah, sure. But when he says only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked, like, what? I know these guys. Thinking. Yeah, exactly. Well, it wakes up the brain. They have like Blue Emu. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's like, you know, athletes use it a lot. It's like if you have pain in your joints and stuff, you put it on your shoulders or your elbows or whatever else, and it's really good. So I have a TV next to my computer, and I'm sitting there, and I'm not. Normally I don't have it on, but for whatever reason I had it on, and I'm doing work on the computer, and then suddenly I hear a famous baseball player who's talking about it, and he says, "Blue Emu, it works fast, and you won't stink." What the hell did he just say? And you won't stink? And from that moment forward, I was watching the commercial. You know, it's a trigger word. And so, yeah, just when you start to understand some of these things, I got to, because comedians use brain glue tools all the time, okay? Let me give you a few examples, okay? I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. Okay? Yeah. Never let a fool kiss you or a kiss fool you. Okay. I want to change. My wife hates this one. I want to change the world, but first I have to change my underwear. Good girls go to heaven. Bad girls go everywhere.
True.
Yeah.
Exactly. I have this one because I'm an older guy. I can relate to this. I'd rather wake up and pee than pee and wake up. I can relate. You know, so when you start to look at some of these things, you start to understand their patterns. What happened was when I was, I'm originally from Montreal. I live in Southern California. I've lived here for like 38 years. But in Montreal, I worked my way up and eventually had an advertising agency, a small advertising agency, but I was able to get pretty big clients like Kraft Foods, Timex watches, stuff like that. There aren't a lot of big companies in Canada, so you either get them or you starve to death, basically. But so I started doing work for some pretty big companies, and I had the opportunity to try to win the anti-drug campaign in America. And so I came up with this ad with powerful, logical reasons why you should not do drugs. And I lost because emotion outsells logic, okay? And so the ad that I lost to was a guy holding an egg saying, "This is your brain." Cracking a shell and dropping the egg into a sizzling frying pan.
I remember
this
that.
This is your brain on drugs. Yeah, and how long ago was it? Yeah, you still remember it. And it was powerful. And when I saw it, two things happened. The first one went, this is a gazillion times better than my ad, which is logical reasons why you shouldn't do drugs. But the second thing is it scared the hell out of me because it made me realize this is emotional selling. I have no clue how to do emotional selling. I mean, how do you do this? And they don't teach it in school or anything. There aren't books on it. You know, this is really weird. So I decided I created a passion box. I put a box next to my computer and I said, every time I love 3x5 cards, every time you see something that's cool, you're not going to take a picture of it. Sometimes you will, but I'll put it on a 3x5 card. So I put your brain on drugs on a 3x5 card and I put it in my passion box right next to my computer. And I said, every time I see something that's emotional, okay, emotional selling, I'm not going to try to overanalyze it because I don't know what the hell it is. I'm going to I'm going to put it in a box in the hopes that eventually I'll have so many examples that I'll be able to figure out like how to do emotional selling. My wife hated going to doctor's offices with me because you go to a doctor's office, they have magazines you've never seen before. Oh, here's Vogue. Hey, whatever, what the hell? So I started looking through it, and she would go like, I go, oh, wow. And she go, no, do not tear it out of the magazine. No, look at this. It's amazing. So then she would sit far away. Like, I do not know that guy, I don't know what he's doing, but but I put it, so I'd have magazine articles and quotes, like famous quotes in the passion box. So about 10 years later, we moved to Southern California and I met John Gray. And John Gray was telling me about this incredible book he wrote called Men, Women, and Relationships. And everyone who read it said, man, this is the greatest relationship book. It's fabulous. It's strengthening our relationships and all that stuff. But almost nobody was buying it. So he got this crazy idea. He was actually in a seminar trying to sell the book. And he said something. He says, sometimes men and women are so different. It's almost like we're from a different planet. And so this woman screams out, what planet are men from? And he said, I guess men are from Mars. And everyone starts laughing. So when he got home, he's thinking, geez, more people laughed at my comment than actually are buying my book. So what men are from, so men are from Mars. If men are from Mars, where are women from? Well, I guess if women are from Venus, Venus is the god of love. What happens if I change the title to Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? And then just put some references, keep the same book, but put some references inside it. Guess what happened? Okay, he sold
number one bestseller.
50 million books he sold.
Oh my God.
He went from 20,000 to 50 million books just because he changed the title. Like, what? So when I got home, I had a copy of the book, and I was going to put the book in the passion box, and I stopped and I went, well, wait a second. Men aren't really from a different planet. I know a lot of women think we are. We act like it sometimes. Yeah. But it's a metaphor. It's like men are not really from a different planet, but we're saying that men and women are so different that it almost feels sometimes like we're from different planets. Oh, okay, interesting. And then I started thinking, well, that guy with the egg, this is your brain on drugs. That's a metaphor too, because he wasn't holding a brain, he was holding an egg. I mean, it looked like a brain, but not. And so I'm thinking like, oh, his metaphor is the secret to emotional selling. So I took the passion box and I dumped it on my bed because I needed a big place to put them all. And I discovered that metaphors is one of 14 brain triggers at the heart of emotional selling. I thought my brain was going to explode. It's like, is this true? So I was a consultant at the time for a lot of different companies. And I was working for these three guys who after 10 years built a construction company, who started a construction company. And after 10 years reached $2 million of sales. And that's not bad, right? $2 million of sales. Ha ha! I mean, I'm saying that. I don't mean it that way. In 1 year, I took them from two. Took them 10 years to get to 2 million. In 1 year, I took them from 2 to 10 million in sales. And then 2 years later, they reached 32 million in sales. I remember these guys were saying, the goal was 12 million. They reached 10 million. And so one of the partners said, hey, Bond, it was supposed to be 12 million. I said, shut up. They got each other brand new, BMWs. Different colors and all that stuff. And these guys were rolling in dough. They couldn't believe how much money it was. But it freaked me out. I started realizing like, have I just figured out something that like nobody else figured out? And so I started applying it to other companies. And in Southern California, I do workshops for people who are in business and stuff like that for a small business administration. And it's just amazing how many people have become like massive multimillionaires by, changing the title of their products or their books or whatever else. And I also have, some comedians. I have this guy who said, oh man, I got your book. I loved it so much that it helped me get a date with the woman of my dreams. Right. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, like, I got to tell you what happened. It's in the book. One of the things I say is say something really honest, like how you messed up. If you're talking to somebody or talking to a crowd, and if you say something that showed that you messed up with something, then people trust you more. So I would say, like with marketing, when Steve Jobs came up with a camera on a phone, I was like, who needs a camera on a phone? What a stupid idea. Boy, was I clueless. You should see how many pictures I have on my phone, But I was clueless. And when I say that to people, they go like, oh, wow. And then I start talking and they realize, okay, so I'm honest enough that I'm willing to say that I don't know everything, okay? Yeah. Marketing. But so this guy says, and there's one of the other things, one of the brain glue tools is comedy, humor, because humor triggers something called oxytocin in the body, in the brain. And so oxytocin actually it actually cures the illnesses. It makes your body able to fight off a lot of illnesses. There's a guy in New York, I forget what his name was, but he was an editor at a major magazine, and he was dying. They said, you're lucky if you have 2 months to live. And so he started focusing on humor. He would start reading cartoon books. He started watching funny shows and jokes. He started reading joke books and stuff. And he lived for almost 25 years after that.
Oh my God.
You're supposed to die.
Laughter is the best medicine.
Laughter is the best medicine. Exactly.
But
it's the best medicine. You got it.
Imagine if you're dying and the doctors just make you watch 24 hours streams of Kai Cenat or something.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll get
I'm
better.
dying.
You'll get better.
Trust me. That's right. I'm dying. So, so what he said, this guy who got this date, he said, so the first thing I did was I said, I did what you did. And I said, she was sitting like in a bar and near his college. He's a college guy. And he goes up to her and he says, can you help me? Because you're really smart. And she's beautiful, he said, but I didn't want to say that. I said, you're really smart.
Nice.
And I wonder if you could help me. I'm really a shy guy and I want to go on a date with someone. This girl who's like just beautiful. She's the most beautiful and the smartest girl I've ever seen. And can you tell me, like, what should I say to her that will make her want to go on a date with me? And so the girl starts laughing first and then says, okay, fine, and gives him some hints. And he says, if I'm going to go on a date, where's a good place to go on a date? And he says, she told me what it was. Then I said, okay, fine. I turned around to walk away and I turned back to her and I said, and I gave her the same line. I told her what she just told me. And she starts laughing. And then we went on it, and she finally agreed, and we went on a date. So I went on a date with the girl of my dreams. He says, then, because you talk about humor, I came with a joke book, and I started practicing jokes on her. She started laughing the whole time, and now I went on a second date with her, and she wants to stay with me. This is awesome. I got the date with the girl of my dreams because I was using some of the stuff in your book. I'm like, okay, whatever works. So, yeah, it was fun.
So what part of brain glue would you say is like tricks versus, tools versus like manipulation?
Well, so this works this way, okay? The smartest people in the world tend to be logical, okay? Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of crappy people out there who are very emotional. I got that, okay? And so for us logical people, we solve problems. You guys have an awesome podcast and stuff like that. I mean, you make it casual, which it is, but you talk about stuff that's really interesting, valuable. And so, but there are some people that are really logic and they use logic and they're negative people. And so I saw this guy who had a t-shirt that said, life sucks and then you die. And I'm like, no, this is life right now. What do you mean? But so I'm teaching emotional selling to logical people. Okay. And it's not just selling because there's comedians too. What I'm saying is if you're an emotional person, go away, okay? I mean, there's some emotional people that are really awesome, and there's no question about it, but there are a lot of evil people or negative people who use emotion all the time, and it really pisses people off. And so what I'm doing is I'm basically saying, hey, like if if you have something you created that's really awesome, or if you want to say something, you want to try to persuade someone that you think is really important, then here are some of the tools you can use. So I'll give you 3 of the tools that really work well. There are a lot of them. I have 14 tools. It's really cool. And in the book, people love it because it explains the tool, gives you examples, and people go, oh, I know that. And then they go, okay, here's how you can try it. And people try it, and then that's why it's really fun. But so I'll give you 3 tools that work really well. The first one is metaphor. Like I was just talking about metaphor, okay? It's just but be as crazy as possible. You always don't pick logic, pick the crazy idea. And I'll give you an example. So this guy, Paul Tran, started a company and he created an electric razor for men's private areas. I don't want to get too much into this, but okay. But he wanted to come up with a name that would help people understand what it is, but it wouldn't offend people. They go, And so he's thinking about it. What's it like? It's just like a lawnmower. Oh, cool. Why don't I call it the lawnmower? In fact, he decided to change the name of his company to Manscaped. We're going to landscape a man with a lawnmower, okay? The lawnmower. I was in store with my wife, like Bed Bath and Beyond or something like that, and they have a big poster, and it says, it's a white poster, says the lawnmower, has an arrow, and it shows the the shaver. I'm like, what? And there are two guys already reading the small text underneath it. This is a shaver for men's private areas, blah blah. And so I went over there, and I started reading it too, because that's a lawnmower. So I never bought one. I know a couple of friends that did, but I never bought one. If I bought one, I would not share it with my friends. Let's start there. Okay? But I can just see calling, one of my buddies, Joe, and I said, "Hey, Joe, guess what I just bought? What? The lawnmower? Oh, you have to mow your lawn? No, it shaves men's private areas." I could hear him laughing, and then turning to his wife, "Hey, Mary, guess what James just bought? What? The lawnmower? What? He has to mow his lawn? No, it's shaving his private areas. Oh." And then I could hear her, imagine her telling other people, "Hey, guess what? There's this product called the lawnmower." But so metaphor is a really good example to start with. Like, it's just like, duh, and then have fun with it. So I have like naked is a trigger word. One of the things I have in there is trigger words. And so, Warren Buffett said, "Only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked." So I said, "Oh, I like the word naked. I could say my book is so good that it grabs people's attention, just like a naked guy running through your backyard." If you looked in your backyard and you saw a naked guy, would you go like, "Whoa"? Would it grab your attention? Yeah, that's what you want if you're selling something.
Mm-hmm.
So metaphor is a good first one. It's like, it's just like, and have fun with it. I have this friend who's he's narrow-minded. Let me say it that way, okay? And I'm trying to explain something to him, but if I said to him, "Stop being so narrow-minded, look at this," he would go like, "Shut up, go away, screw you," whatever else. Don't tell me I'm narrow-minded. So what else is narrow? What else works when it's open wide? Because I want him to open his mind. So an umbrella, if it's raining, you get the umbrella works well. A parachute, definitely works. If it doesn't open, you're really screwed.
Yeah.
A book. Somebody buys a book and they never open it, they're not going to get benefit from it if there's a book. So I thought, okay, a parachute is a good one. So I said, "Hey, Joseph, your mind is like a parachute. It works better when it's open." And there's a pause, and he goes, "Oh, okay, what do you want to tell me?" Instead of telling me, "What do you want to tell me?" It was like, "What do you want to tell me? What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about this." But I kind of opened that. So metaphor is a good one as a starting point. Pick something that's it's just like, our show is just like sitting in a bathtub and enjoying yourself. And I don't know, whatever. And then the more fun you have with it, the more it wakes up the brain, because we are affected. We're motivated by emotion. That's why emotion and motivate. It's just the same words are in there. And so that's the first one. The second one is alliteration, a repetition of sound. Buh, buh, buh. I never realized Coca-Cola, Best Buy, PayPal, Bed Bath and Beyond. You had Biden's Build Back Better, Trump's Make America Great Again, It's like they recognize, and a lot of experts recognize, that the power of TikTok, if they called it Chinese social media platform, you think as many people would go to it? "Hey, it's a Chinese social media platform. What do you think?" It's like, no. In fact, that was funny. We have a son and 3 daughters. My youngest daughter is like, she's about 30, but she loves TikTok. And I said, "Yeah, TikTok is Chinese social media platform." She said, "No, it isn't. It's not Chinese." I said, "Yeah, it is." She said, "No, it's not." She did research and came back, "Oh, I didn't realize it's actually, but TikTok. But, so alliteration is a good one. I heard this guy who was saying he's trying to create a process, a program, okay? So he says, prior planning prevents poor performance. Okay? So alliteration is a good one. That's the one. And then rhyme. Rhyme is a really good one. Let me give you this example. Well, let me give you some examples first. Yeah, Famous Amos. A lot of people who didn't have a lot of money, and they became rich using rhyme in their name. We have Famous Amos, 7-Eleven, Reese's Pieces, Slim Jims, Jelly Bellies, Pooper Scooper. How about Lean Cuisine, Shake and Bake? It's rhymed. So there's a mom and son in Utah, and they're watching Shark Tank, and they're just in love with Shark Tank, and they love the idea of the fact that if you can get on Shark Tank, they, and they work with you, you actually can become a millionaire. Hey, that's really cool. I want to get on Shark Tank. And so they're saying we need to come up with a product that would really be so cool that we can actually get on Shark Tank. So they're thinking about it, and it took about a month. And so the mom is constipated, and she has a lot of trouble going to the bathroom. And so a doctor said to her, when you're on the toilet, I don't want to get too much into this, but when you're on the toilet, if you raise your feet like 6 to 8 inches off the floor, it changes the shape of your body, and it's a lot easier going to the bathroom. She tried it, and it worked. It was like, wow, it helped a lot. And so then they were thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we create this little bench that wraps around a toilet and you could slide it out and put your feet on it? That would be awesome. And they said, okay, that's good. And they went online and they found a manufacturer. And so they figured out how much it can cost. And it cost, I don't know, like $5. And they could sell it for $20, so they can make a fortune off this. Oh, that's really cool. They have no business experience, by the way, okay? By the way, let me tell you the end and I'll get back to this. They have no business experience, but within 2 years, they reached $100 million of sales.
Jesus.
And so how did they do it? So they said, okay, so toilet stool, it's kind of a toilet stool. Well, we don't want to call it toilet stool. That's a crappy name. So what's another name for? Yeah, exactly. So what's another name for toilet? Potty. Like porta potties. You see porta potties, and we all know it's a toilet. Porta potty. Okay, and you're kind of squatting. Squatty potty. They came up with the name Squatty Potty, and sales exploded. I want to tell you this, okay? About three and a half months ago, I was in the hospital for heart bypass surgery. Not fun, okay? I was telling them jokes. I was trying to keep myself laughing, but it was like, pain. Anyway, whole story there. But I had this nurse, and she says, what do you do? And I said, I wrote this book called Brain Glue. She says, well, what's it about? And I started telling the story of Squatty Potty. She says, I got to tell you this. I'm a nurse, and I know that when you're in the bathroom, you want to raise your feet off the ground. And so I have this little stool, this little, trash can, and I turn it upside down. And I put my feet on it. And so it's really good. But I was in a store and I saw Squatty Potty, and I laughed so much, I decided I had to buy it. I said, you already have something like this, but you bought the Squatty Potty just because you like the name? She said, yeah, it was really a great name, Squatty Potty. Like, what? What? So I've got this idea, okay? How would you like to invent a product, an incredible product? Someone you hate steals it from you. They make a fortune and you starve to death. Wouldn't that be fun?
No.
Yeah. No.
Let's go.
Okay. Exactly. So the guy who's the head of who makes cereals? There's Kellogg's Corn Flakes and all that stuff. There's Kellogg's and there's
Post.
Post. That's it. Post. Thank you. I'm losing my mind. I'm getting old. What can I say? So the head of Post Cereal said, we got to come up with a product different from cereal because Kellogg's is beating us on all the cereals they do. So I said, what would be really cool? And they came up with this idea of this cake that it's a small cake. It has jam inside it, so strawberry, blueberry, raspberry. And you put it in a toaster. And when it comes up out of the toaster, you have this really cool, warm cake that you get to eat.
Oh, yeah.
And they decided to call it Country Squares. Okay, hang on, you know what the killer was. Mm-hmm. So they decided to call it Country Squares, and he was so proud of it that 3 months before he launched it, he promoted it to the media. And so the head of Kellogg's was watching this, and he says, "Yeah, we got this new product, Country Squares, blah blah blah." And he goes, "Guys, come here." He's launching this in 3 months. You got just about 1 month to figure out how to make the same product. Guys, let's do it, okay? So his guys made it, but we need a better name. So he used 2 brain glue tools, by the way. So he says, okay, let's see. It pops out of the toaster. So we call it sense elevation, like pop. So we got to call it pop something, okay? And back then they had Andy Warhol, who was an artist, a pop artist. Then there's something called anchoring, where you take something that's already kind of in the brain and you use that, or you could twist it a little bit. And, it's like a Head and Shoulders shampoo. Everybody knew Head and Shoulders, knees and toes, eyes, ears, mouth and nose. So why don't we call it Head and Shoulders? Okay. Mm-hmm. And so they took a name that's already in the brain. But so they decided to call it Pop-Tarts. And they launched it, of course, 1 week before Country Squares launched.
I'd be so pissed. I'd be so mad.
Can you imagine? And so And they sold out. It became the biggest selling product that Kellogg's ever had. They couldn't believe it, and they sold out. And so he didn't want anyone buying Country Squares. So he ran an ads in newspapers saying, I'm so sorry that we ran out of product, but just hold on for a couple of days and there'll be more product. Almost nobody bought Country Squares, and Pop-Tarts sold like crazy. And in fact, within a few months, Post stopped selling Country Squares because nobody was buying it. And Pop-Tarts last year, they sold more than 3 billion Pop-Tarts.
Oh
okay.
my God.
They stole the name from the other guy, but they had a better name. It's like, it's not fun.
Oh, definitely not. So you were speaking about products using like alliteration, all these tools that are very popular nowadays. Is there one that you know of that's like an enigma, like one that definitely doesn't use any of these tools, but it's still super popular and people still buy it, even though it doesn't use any of these tools that you're speaking of?
I don't think so, because that's one of the things. That's why I have 14 tools. So I've described them in such a way. It's like a sense elevation, plop plop fizz fizz. Oh, what a relief it is! Alka-Seltzer. It's sound. What's the sound you hear when you put these things inside? Smells like Teen Spirit. Okay. Whoa, what does Teen Spirit smell like? He was fantastic, and his songs are fabulous. But I mean, smells like Teen Spirit. Okay, give me some deodorant or something. So, but it works. And so what happened was, probably because I've been doing this for way over 20 years now. And so every time I see a product or see something that's emotional, that's really powerful and massively successful, I'll note it, put it in my passion box. And then I'll sit down and I'll try to understand, like, what is it that they use? And so for most of the things I've discovered, here's the weird thing, okay? And this is like one of the extra things that I discovered. Most people don't know this. So Norma Jean Mortensen, you know who she is?
I do not.
I don't know.
Okay,
we're too young.
She is a model. She was a brown-haired model. And then her manager said, you got to change your name because Norma Jean is not a good name for a model. People don't like that. So why don't you change it to like Marilyn? Marilyn's a good name. She goes, Marilyn. Okay. You got
I know where this is going.
I'm going to show you something that really blew my mind and blows people's minds. So Marilyn, okay, and her mother's maiden name was Monroe. Mama. A sense alliteration, right? Mama, Marilyn Monroe. Oh, that's a cool name. Yeah, I'll call myself Marilyn Monroe. Then she liked this name, Jean, what was her name? Jean Simmons. Jean Harlow, excuse me, who was a famous actor in the early days. And Jean Harlow had platinum blonde hair, okay? And Marilyn loved Jean Harlow. So she went to the same hairdresser as Jean Harlow went to, and she said, could you dye my hair the same color as hers? And they did. So now she's Marilyn Monroe with platinum blonde hair, okay? That sounds really good. But she has a beauty mark on her cheek, and she would cover it up all the time with makeup. One day she's looking at photographs of Jean Harlow, and she realizes in some photographs, Jean Harlow has a beauty mark on her cheek, and in some it's on her chin. Wait a second. I bet she doesn't even have a beauty mark. I bet she's just putting a dot on her face to grab attention to herself. Huh. And from that point forward, Marilyn started making her beauty mark darker instead of covering it up. And her sales, as she became massively famous as a result of it. If you look at pictures of her, she was starting to become successful. And then after she became massively famous, she's got this dot on her face, She started having fun with it. There's what's her name? Cindy Crawford. And Cindy Crawford is, one of the top models out there. And she's, in her biography, Cindy Crawford talks about the fact that she had a beauty mark or a birthmark above her lip. And when she was young, she begged her mom, could you please get it removed? And she said, I am so glad my mom didn't. I believe that beauty mark is part of the reason why I became the world's first supermodel over all these other models, because I've got this dot that makes people look at my face. So there's a famous, so it sounds like, really? But we like symmetry, My wife especially, she looks at a guy and he's got a naked, he's got one eye that's like this as he talks, and it drives her nuts because you cover it one way, it looks like one guy, it looks like another guy when you cover it the other way. And so asymmetry, which is, something that's not symmetrical, it doesn't look the same on both sides, drives a lot of people nuts, but it also grabs our attention. So there's this famous advertiser named David Ogilvy. He was ages ago at the beginning of the advertising industry when it really took off. And he was working with Hathaway shirts, and Hathaway became so successful that Warren Buffett bought it. That's why his company is called Berkshire Hathaway, because he actually bought Hathaway, okay, because it was making so much money. But they weren't when the first ads were run. And so when he was running an ad, he was running an ad for a shirt. And so if you're running for an ad for a shirt that's going to appear in a magazine, it looks like every other ad. I mean, for shirts, it's a good-looking guy with a shirt, nice pair of pants, maybe in a nice environment. It's like looks like everybody else's one. So he said, I want to use asymmetry. He didn't know it back then, but he understood that concept. So he put an eye patch on the guy. Okay. When he put an eye patch on the guy, and in the ads, he would say the man in a Hathaway shirt, because most people read the headline and don't read the text. He never explained why the guy has an eye patch, but all the ads he had a guy with an eye patch on, and sales exploded.
I mean, yeah, I'd buy that.
Yeah, exactly.
That dude's sick. What?
There you go, exactly. But so asymmetry is one of those things. If you have something that is unexpected, then people go like, whoa, what? Well, okay. And it grabs our attention. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun seeing some of the things. I have this, there are a lot of people that were actually starving to death, basically, or struggling with their product or their business. And they changed the name of the company, and suddenly sales took off.
Right.
They have this guy named, I got to remember his name, Carrie Smith. And Carrie Smith started a company. He didn't want to work for somebody else, so he started a company, a little manufacturing, making little products. And he started making a little bit of money, so he bought a company from a friend who made fans. And they're really large fans that are used in barns. For if you have horses or cows, you're not going to use air conditioning in the barn. You're going to put a fan up. And so he created this fan. He called it HVLS fans, which is high volume, low speed fans. This is logic, okay? Mm-hmm. And so he's trying to sell them, and they're selling a bit, not bad. And also big warehouses would use them. Instead of having air conditioning, I'll have a big fan, huge fan. Right. And so high volume, low speed fans, because he had big propellers, so you wouldn't have to turn it so fast, and yet you still get air from it. So a friend of his says, well, I don't know, what the hell, what kind of fans are you guys? He said, they're big ass fans. And the guy starts laughing, big ass fans? How come you don't tell everybody they're big ass fans? What is this HVLS garbage? He goes, okay, So he ran an ad for big ass fans, and sales exploded. So he decided to change the name of the company from HVLS fans to big ass fans, and sales skyrocketed. I mean, skyrocketed so much that he had the business for about 15 years. And he said that I was able to sell the company for $500 million.
Jesus.
Because of big ass fans. Because people go like, big ass fans? What? What the hell?
They hear that first part, man. They're locked in. They see big ass. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fans? All right, I'll buy one.
You should see their logo. Their logo is awesome. It's a donkey, which is an ass, with his butt facing you, which is his ass. His head is off in the distance, turned looking at you. That's his logo.
Genius.
On all the thing.
What's crazy is
and underneath is big ass fans. It's really great.
So, what methods in your book do you use to sell your book, or do you use all of them, or?
Yeah, I have fun with all of them, but I will say that the three that I teach people at least start with. I mean, hopefully get the book, because I think you'll have lots of fun. I mean, just you can persuade. You can get a better job. You get your boss to accept you. You get your boss or clients to accept your ideas easier, and you can make a ton of money if you're selling products or services. But they're always, to me, the three that are the easiest ones to start with, and that's metaphor. It's just like, and have fun with it. Be as creative and as crazy as possible. It's just like, okay? And the second thing is alliteration, or repetition of sound. Get some words that relate to your product. Squatty potty, I mean, potty. Okay, what rhymes with potty? Well, they invented squatty, but it still works, okay? And then alliteration, or repetition of sound, where squatty potty is rhyme and alliteration. Squatty potty, blah, 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 it's the same sound. But if you take these three, metaphor, rhyme, and alliteration, you can really have lots of fun with coming up with ways to describe what you're selling. I say for my book, switch your pitch if you want to get rich. Brain glue.
That's right.
So it creates desire. Okay, so what are words that rhyme with desire? Then I came up with Brain glue lights the fire of desire in your buyer.
Ooh. Wait, what the
Okay.
fuck? What is buyer, though?
Buyer, like someone
Oh,
who
buyer.
Yeah, buyer. That's right.
That one went over my head. I'm with it, though.
Oh, I have to say my favorite one is brain glue grabs your client's attention, just like a naked guy running through your backyard. If you had a naked guy running through your backyard, would that grab your attention?
Exactly.
I'd be looking.
Yeah, exactly. What's that? So you look at a book, and there's a naked guy running across the book. Like, what?
So I want to pick your brain on two things.
Uh-oh.
then. For us as a business, quote unquote, the Yap Squad, what would you use to propel our business? What would you recommend us do?
Well, the first thing I would do is find all the words that rhyme with yap, because I'm sure there are lots of really cool words that rhyme with yap.
Crap.
Okay.
No, not that one.
Yap crap. They're better than crap. Yap is better than crap. So you can have a lot of fun with that. And you guys are laughing, and that's what you want to do. You want to laugh because you want to grab attention enough that people laugh. It's like the lawnmower. They laugh, but they look at it. They read the text and they read the sales text and all that stuff, So you want to have fun with it. You want to make it so much fun that, people don't realize this. We want to have fun. I mean, there may be a few people that need that T-shirt, life sucks and then you die. I got a friend that can use that, but most people are not. And so what you do is if you can make them laugh a little bit, humor is one of the tools of brain glue, but if you can make them laugh with your name somehow and still describe it in a way that works, they understand at least what it is, then that can really, really help you. Because laughing wakes them up and starts triggering oxytocin in their brain. I mean, it literally changes their body. I was I was doing a turnaround early in my career to a martial arts equipment company, and they were about to go bankrupt, and so I helped them, and then we fixed them, and it was really fantastic. But when I first met them, if you're in a company and you're afraid that you're going to go bankrupt, the owner of the company isn't going to tell everybody, so that's it. But you can kind of tell it in his body and his facial expression, and everything else. And the employees are freaked out because they're afraid they're going to lose their job. So when I first started with them, they said, "Oh, here's James Bond," and everybody laughed. Okay, and I said, "He's going to help us to turn around the company." And I said, "Okay, so this is very important for all of you guys." Okay, and I told them a joke. They didn't expect a joke; they expect serious. And I said, when what do you call the guy that cleans up places with a broom and stuff like that?
Janitor?
A janitor, okay? When a janitor is in the closet, he's in a service closet that has all the tools and everything else. And somebody comes up to the closet. He opens up the door and screams, "Supplies!" Not surprise, supplies. So I remember I'm looking in the window of this woman that's working in the company, and she looks like really serious. She's like freaked out. You can see it's really serious. So I opened up her door, I knocked on the window, said, "Can I come in?" She said, "Yeah." I opened up the door just slightly. And then she gets a big smile on her face and goes, "Supplies!"
Stuck with her.
I mean, this was like 6 months after working with them. She remembered it from my first joke. I'm the supplies guy. But I mean, it's just, when you make people laugh, I mean, you don't always make people laugh, okay? But based on what you have, if you can trigger oxytocin in their brain somehow by giving them something that's really funky, then you have a better chance of getting more customers, basically, or buyers, or podcast lovers, and all that stuff. But everything is like that. I mean, or even persuading people. If you can make them laugh first, and then you give them, I'd rather wake up and pee than pee and wake up, huh? Yeah, hey, that's old. You're old. Me too. I got a very important lesson for you. Okay, it's better to wake up and pee than pee and wake up, right? They're gonna go, what? And they start laughing. So just, I had these 3 women who are kind of religious. So I got this religious thing, and I was trying to persuade them to do something, which I ended up did. But somebody said they're going to be really hard to persuade. I said, well, let me start with a joke. So I came up to them and I said, I know we're going to want to talk about this, but first, can I share something with you? And the 3 women said, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Very serious. I said, so did you hear about the little girl who came up to her mommy and said, "Mommy, Daddy says we came from apes, but you say we came from Adam and Eve. honey, daddy's talking about his family. I'm talking about my family. And they started laughing. And, these are people who are mad. When you're mad, you got like all this, stuff built up. But they started laughing and couldn't stop. And one started laughing first, the other looked at the other one and said, oh, and they all started laughing. And then when I went, okay, let's talk about this and see what you guys think. It became much easier to sell them because we started them laughing. I mean, the worst thing you're ever going to say to somebody is, no, I disagree with you. You're totally wrong. You're an idiot. Okay. Oh yeah, let's negotiate. What? It's like, I don't want to push Trump or anything, whatever's going on. But they say Trump says that the head of Russia, what's his name?
Putin.
Putin, yeah. That he says that Putin is smart. Yeah, because he wants to negotiate with him. If he said you're an idiot, nobody's going to listen to you. By the way, let's sit and negotiate. What's the guy going to do? He's going to go, screw you. I mean, you got to understand it. You want to make them more receptive.
Right.
So he says, no, he's a smart guy. The head of China is, he's really a smart guy. So he's going to go, okay, so let me sit down and negotiate with him. And it's easier to negotiate. Now, I'm not picking politics because it works with, people we know, try to get a job. I win clients by telling them jokes all the time. I don't know why, but it worked. Well, I know why, because the brain good, but it works, So that's, what can I say? But yeah.
So you were saying like this kind of stuff wouldn't work for politics, or like it would?
No, it does. It works for politicians that use this. I'm trying not to let politicians have the book.
I was about to say, I was like, well, in the wrong hands, surely this could be a bad thing, especially if it's a big power of negotiation and persuasion. This, in the wrong hands, this could be a very bad book. Do you feel that way in any way,
yes.
shape, or form?
Yes, and that's why I want as many people as possible to learn this. Because if people learn this, then you can't stop bad people from getting this. They're going to figure stuff out and do it anyway. But us good people have to figure it out too, and so we know how to use it. Or if somebody's using that, he's telling a joke. You know why he's telling a joke? Come up with a joke for him. The guys, Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, was around the time of the Vietnam War, and the people who were protesting the Vietnam War came up with a slogan. They said, hey, LBJ, how many kids have you killed today? That was their slogan. Okay, hey,
times,
LBJ,
man.
how many kids have you killed today? And they're talking about the Vietnam War and people are dying. But I mean, just to come up with that phrase is like, what? So yeah. I mean, this is not about selling. This is not about being in business. It's not about being in politics or anything else. It's about being in life. This is how the brain works. The brain loves patterns. There are certain patterns that it loves all the time. And so they have this guy, I can't remember his name, but let me see if I can remember his name. But he created this TV show. They wanted a TV show, and on the Food Channel. He's a cook. And so he wanted to, he's really good at the grill, okay? And he's going to create grilled foods. And so they said, well, we need a name for a grill. Well, what does grill sound like? It sounds like girl. What's a phrase? Boy meets girl. Oh, I got that. Why don't I call it Boy Meets Grill? He came up with Boy Meets Grill and became massively famous with that name. Okay, he took us, Boy Meets Grill. It's an anchoring. It takes something that already exists and then just twist it a little bit and use it for yourself. And then people Boy Meets Grill. Well, what the heck's that? Okay. Oh yeah, he's about grilling. So when you kind of, this applies to so many things. I mean, I got nonprofits that use it all the time, which is really cool. I have this lady who helps women who are postmenopause. After menopause, sex doesn't work that well. They look in the mirror and they see an old person, and suddenly they don't feel that confident anymore. People aren't going to like me, or my husband or boyfriend isn't going to like me. And so we're working with her, and she came up with the name of her company. So what was it going to be called? Riding the Tiger for Women. And she has a picture of this woman with bare feet riding a tiger. And she's on. It's awesome. I wish I could show it to you. It's really awesome. But Riding the Tiger for Women. So if she said it's like postmenopause for women, maybe. She said, if you're an elderly woman, that's how she started her advertising. If you're an elderly woman, I said, no woman wants to be called an elderly woman. Are you kidding? And so, what do you want to do? Riding the tiger. You can ride the tiger of postmenopause. So she called it, riding a tiger for women, and suddenly people are standing in line to work with her. So it's just, we want to recognize that some words, some phrases are going to turn people off, and some phrases are going to turn people on. And you want to understand which phrases or words will turn people on. And when you do that, you become famous. I love saying this. Do you know who Richard Branson is?
Nope.
He's one of the billionaires. He's one of the richest men on the planet. Okay, so I'll tell you who he is in a second, okay? So what do Richard Branson, Madonna, and olive oil have in common?
I don't know.
Virgin! Virgin olive oil, like a virgin. That's touch for the very first time. I don't know if you ever heard that song from Madonna. It's one of her biggest songs. And then virgin. So Richard Branson he's in Britain. And he dropped out of high school because he didn't feel like it was too boring for him. And he started a magazine for musicians. It became somewhat successful, so he decided with a friend to start a record company. And he recognized that he says, we don't have a lot of money, so we need to come up with a really cool name. What's a cool name for our company? Why don't we call it Virgin Records? Cool. He became massively successful. He had people like the Rolling Stones became a client and all these other people, okay? Then he went, wow, the word virgin really grabs people's attention and wakes people up. I want to do all these other companies too, so why don't I start trademarking the word virgin? Virgin Trucking, Virgin Hotels, Virgin cruise ships, Now he has Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactic. He went up to, they were competing with all the other guys to fly into space. But the word virgin grabs enough attention that I was talking to somebody who was in Texas. Well, I'm in Southern California. We don't see them here. But she says, oh, no, Virgin Hotels are all over Texas. And it's his same logo that's on the Virgin Records, But yeah, Virgin Hotels are all over the place. Oh, okay. And I had this other woman that said, no, we went on a cruise with Virgin ships. Said, really? He has Virgin ships? Yeah, check it out. And so he became a billionaire just with the word virgin. I mean, obviously, he's pretty good in business, so he figures stuff out. But even in the beginning, he didn't have a lot of money, so he came up with the name Virgin for Virgin Records, and the rest, as they say, is history. He went, geez, people are jumping when they hear back then. Today, we don't jump, but Virgin Records, They have this girl, Eve Ensler, and she created a play on off-Broadway for talking about how tough it is being a woman, all areas, sexually, relationship-wise, and all this other stuff. And she wanted to come up with a name. So if you're coming up with a name for that, what would you call it? Tough Women or something like that? She went, no, I want a really strong name. So she came up with the Vagina Monologues. The Vagina Monologues? It became a blockbuster. Even HBO has a show on the Vagina Monologues talking about her thing. Because of the name. You understand a trigger word and it wakes you up. I love saying dirt. Would you call your business dirty? And yet they have Dirty Dancing, Dirty Harry, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. These are blockbusters, with the word dirty, And so when we start to understand these triggers and start using them, people have just so much fun.
Right.
I have these two guys who do advertising, and they take somebody who does advertising, for small companies and individuals, and they help them make more money. And the guy's name is Baer, David Baer, Baer. And I can't remember the name of the company for the life of me, okay? But so I'm sitting as I'm talking to these guys, and I said, you know what? I got a perfect name for your company, Bare Naked Advertising. His partner starts laughing and goes, that is an awesome name. And he goes, I don't know if I want the word naked next to my name. So he never did it. But he's crazy because Bare Naked Advertising, everyone will remember it. But also it's like Naked Juice. We have Naked Juice that's taken off, and they shot past Odwalla that was owned by Coca-Cola. These two guys in Southern California, they wanted Naked Juice. People laugh because they know it is naked, but they also know naked means, it's natural, it's, and all that stuff. And so, just when you start to understand those terms and, people start having fun going through them because they realize, oh, wow. And they usually do like 4 or 5 of them, and then they have to choose one that they want to use as the name of their company or the way to describe it or whatever. But it just, I'll go back to life does not suck. And then, life sucks and then you die. No, you got to have fun right now. You guys are having fun. Look at this. You aren't wearing suits and ties and singing, okay, we're going to do the next question is, no, we're having fun,
Just hanging out.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we were doing a little bit of research before the show, and we saw an AI tool that uses the same name, Brain Glue. I was wondering what your thoughts are on the advancements of AI, and do you think that's going to take any of the emotion out of advertisement or even just product itself? If some tool can just come up with those names using alliteration and everything like that just by typing in a phrase.
I don't think so. I've used AI and I use it, for all kinds of things. AI is fun because you can bounce ideas off it. So it's almost like, you're trying, it's like somebody that you're bouncing ideas off. But like I would ask it for emotion. It doesn't understand emotion. They try to understand emotion, but they don't.
Right.
Like music, you listen to music, 10 years ago, could they have told you what kind of music is going to be really hot today? No, because it's emotion. We're affected by emotion. And so AI does not, they try to trigger emotion or to use emotional tools, but emotional tools are like here to here, they're inside us. And so, yes, periodically AI can come up with something. I asked it for a phrase for brain glue, and they gave me 100 of them, and 99 of them were terrible, and one of them wasn't that bad. I have to see if I remember it.
Not good enough to remember.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And they were just terrible, and I use it periodically because I want to see if we create a program that uses it. But it's just it can't decide what triggers us.
Right.
We can decide what triggers us. I mean, that's why music is a good example. You have a song you love. How come AI didn't create songs that you love? They, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But when they do, I think it's more just a fluke than anything else. And the reason is that's one of the great things about us is that we are emotional people. We don't realize it, but I mean, people buy for emotional reasons. People make decisions for emotional reasons. Sometimes we make crappy decisions for emotional reasons, but that's okay. And yeah, we get hooked on stuff. We go to Las Vegas and suddenly we're spending, too much money or something on something, but whatever it is, but that's fine. That's all part of our life. Our life is not boring. That's one of the things you want to say is, you had a tough life. Yeah, but it's not boring, is it? Well, no. I have cool, look at all the things that happened. I had a divorce and our building burned down and this and this. Well, you can't say life is boring. Well, no, it's not boring. I don't know if I love this, but it's not boring. But yeah, just, I mean, that's it. We want to have a cool life, and we have to understand that no matter how bad things are, there's a very good chance that ultimately, you're going to get positivity out of it. If you expect it. If you expect it, look for the positive, and it's, always going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep, I think so. Now, is there anything that you think brain glue can't stick on?
Well, I was surprised when the guy said he got a date with the girl of his dreams. So I'm afraid to say I don't know. I think it does work for a lot of things. When you're dealing with humans, it's brain glue can be tremendously valuable. Okay, when you're dealing with robots, I'm not sure. Okay.
So we're
supposed to be getting a whole bunch of robots coming up. So I think even Elon Musk is
popping up out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
We might
one of my favorite
put two
movies
robots on this couch, and then we'll have a new podcast.
Yeah, really. One of my favorite movies was I, Robot. That was I love that movie.
Oh yeah,
with Will Smith.
I was watching clips of that yesterday, actually.
Oh,
that's weird that you bring that up. Now, if you could go back in time with all the knowledge of brain glue that you have now, would you change anything in your life?
Yeah, I changed the names of a whole bunch of things I did. I'll start there. But other than that, no, I wouldn't love brain glue as much as I do if I didn't discover it. Right. You got to be, they're famous people. People say, well, they went bankrupt. How good are they? Well, Walt Disney went bankrupt, I mean, so he went bankrupt, and then when he was trying to recover from it with his brother, he had a whole different way he was looking at things. In the beginning, it was, this works. Eventually, something didn't work, and they went bankrupt. They literally went bankrupt, and then it changes how you think, and you start saying, okay, I don't want to do it exactly this way. Let's do it this way or that way. He was creative, which is really good, and we want to be creative. I mean, creativity is fun. Creativity is valuable. That's, the most valuable thing. And I think it's the creativity that you don't get from AI. AI basically uses all these tools. It'll put them together in different formats and everything else, but it uses all these tools. So you're giving it tools to use and maybe, other stuff, but you're basically giving it tools. But for us, creativity comes from all kinds of things. You could be on the toilet and you come up with this idea, squatty potty, what I mean? Just.
Now, do you think, sorry, I lost my train of thought instantaneously.
Welcome to the club.
So what are your other ventures outside of Brain Glue?
For me, Brain Glue was the beginning of a process that I had called How to Influence, Persuade, and Sell Anyone. And I did this with the Small Business Administration, and people love that. And I'm fascinated by this. Brain Glue is a part of that. Part of that is, telling somebody, you disagree with somebody. Well, start by saying, well, that makes sense. Don't tell them I disagree with you right from the start. So there are certain things that that go beyond Brain Glue. Okay. Brain Glue are the tools and the patterns. Okay. So I'm kind of looking at that. That's, I think, going to be a lot of fun. Certainly starting products. I'm involved with several, and that's really, including Brain Glue itself. I had Jack Canfield, who did Chicken Soup for the Soul. He sold 500 million Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Okay. He was telling me, but so he said, if you don't sell more than 10 million of these books, people have to, you're doing something wrong because it's too important for people in all kinds. I've got comedians that are using it. I've got, and then of course people in business who are using it. And there are a lot of people that want to make some extra money. Want to make some extra bucks. The squatty potty is a good example, but I mean, it doesn't have to be 100 million, but hey, if you make 100 million, you're good. Yeah. But I mean, but the point is they wanted to, I think they both had jobs, him and his mom, and they didn't feel like they wanted to work for themselves and they wanted to change their life. And so, if you work for, if you want, a lot of people are doing this where they want to make some extra money by selling something online or something like that. And that's really good. And so Brain Glue helps them with that. And to me, that's really fun. But it also helps me because I get to launch products and it's lots of fun too. Because you go, oh, wow, it's a really cool product. You got to have something that's a good product. But there are a gazillion people that have good products. So I'll go back to the, the Pop-Tarts guy that was competing, that invented the product, and Kellogg's made the fortune from Pop-Tarts. So there are two things. One is you got to have something you're passionate about, create something that solves a problem or is really cool for people. And then you need a really cool way, a Brain Glue way to explain what it is. So people go like, whoa, whoa, that's interesting, huh? It's the lawnmower. Interesting. Okay. Everybody knows what I say lawnmower. You guys are laughing, but you know what it is.
Yep.
I
almost bought one just because of the name.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it grabs us. And then that's basically, life is like that. I mean, we got to have fun. I don't want to live in a miserable country.
No. Yeah, that's right.
Really.
So you're bringing up your passion box a lot. Do you still have that?
Yes.
Do you have it right there?
It's on the side. That's why I don't want to show it to you. It's just, I don't know how to reach. But it's just, but it's, to me, I have it because I love the concept and I love to learn more. I accept the fact that maybe I don't know everything, and I'm fascinated by, oh, wow, somebody told a joke or somebody has a product that really takes off. A lot of people don't know this, but remember Got Milk?
Yeah.
Got Milk is a failure, and most people don't know this.
Really?
They have an article in Business Week that says Got Milked. Okay, I even have a copy of the article here. Got Milked, and it says, it says after a $385 million campaign, sales still continue to decline. And it says, and it's like, really? Yeah, people love the posters, love the books. I've got two of the books, one of the Brain Glue and one of the other one that they had. Excuse me. But the sales, it didn't help sales because it didn't get more people buying milk. If people have like a lactose intolerance, lactose intolerance is where you drink milk and you sort of you don't feel well or stuff like that.
Right.
Most people who don't have lactose intolerance but still think they have it will never buy milk. They might buy the poster or the book, but they're not going to buy the milk.
Right.
If you came up with something that says, milk strengthens your bones more than everything else because of certain enzymes that are inside milk that aren't in other dairy products, then people might go, oh, and then come up with a rhyme or something like that. It would work. But They didn't. Got Milk. What does Got Milk say? Fun. Okay. Now, Milk Mustache. That's the other one. You know, man, I've got a daughter that has a, milk mustache. She's got a famous person on it. I forget who it is. But I mean, the advertising was fun, but it was terrible from a marketing standpoint because it actually didn't sell. And you compare that to Squatty Potty or Pop Tarts, Pop Tarts. Okay, cool. It pops out of the toaster. I'm there, Smells like Teen Spirit. Okay. I got to check that song out. And the song is great. So when you do that, you got to connect to what it is that you're trying to get people to feel.
Right.
I mean, I Love Milk is better than Got Milk. They don't have that, but I'm just saying, so just looking at certain things and understanding how it all fits together is fascinating for me. And part of why it's fascinating is I'm the oldest of 4 kids, boy, girl, boy, boy. And my middle brother and my mom and my dad a little bit, mostly my mom, would cut me off every time I'd start talking. I start saying something, and if it took too long to explain something, then they would actually cut me off. Oh, shut up. We're talking about something or whatever. They would just cut me off. And so first thing was I would talk fast. Hey, well, no. I tried to talk fast enough that I would finish saying what I wanted to say before I got cut off. But that didn't work. And so that's why I'm fascinated by brain glue, because can you take one word, 2 words, 3 words, and then make that strong enough that people go, huh, what?
Right.
And that to me was fascinating about brain glues, because it's the whole idea of, I get people describing what they do and it takes forever. I'll listen to them for 15 minutes until I finally go, oh, okay, that's what you do. Not everyone is like that, but some are. And I'll say, can we come up with 2 words or 3 words that describe it enough that people get excited? And so for me, that's fascinating. I've done that a lot for nonprofits, several nonprofits and stuff like that. They describe what this is, and I listen to it forever, and I'll go, but why should anybody invest in this? And they would finally say, da-da-da-da, because of this. Oh, well, that's what you need the phrase to be, something along those lines. Hello. I have this woman that has for Alzheimer's, and her mom got Alzheimer's, and she I have to remember what it was. She turned into a vegetable. So she's telling me about we have this program to help, this process to help people who have Alzheimer's, and they sort of are going nuts and everything else. And then she's telling me all this logical stuff, and then she finally says, "Yeah, it was." I said, "Well, what happened to your mom?" She said she turned into a vegetable. It was really sad. Now, a vegetable, interesting. She was actually calling her company Anti-Veg Alzheimer's. I said, that's not a good name.
Oh, man.
You still got to understand name. I said, I got a name for you, which they trademarked. The Alzheimer's Wake Up the Brain Program.
I do. I like that much better.
Yeah, exactly. I said, you need one sentence that gets people to accept what you're saying, believe you, and be curious. Tell me more. You got to tell me more. What does it do? How do you do it? What, blah, blah, blah. And when you do that, it becomes powerful. But that came from my parents and my brother driving me nuts. My brother still does that, cuts me off. Brain, I can't even say brain glue. I get cut off. So he calls me, everybody's James Bond or James or Jim. He calls me Jimbo. Hey, Jimbo. Shut up. I love my brother dearly, but, he's a pain sometimes.
So you talked about all the success stories about how your book has helped other people. How successful is your book? Because we tried to look it up, but I didn't give any specific numbers or anything. How many sales have you done since the release?
Well, we have. So let me say it this way. Jack Canfield said, if you don't sell more than 10 million books, you're doing something wrong, because the book is fabulous. It's easy to read. It's fun to read and all that stuff, but it's also valuable. And I'm approaching that. Let me just say it that way. We sell it through Amazon, but we sell it other ways also. And so we have platforms. And so, yeah, I mean, anybody who looks at yesbrainglue.com, you'll see a lot of the stuff of what people are talking about and what they're discovering from it and stuff. And there's some videos on there, including Jack Canfield. The guy's rich. He sold over $1 billion worth of books, and he's got over 60 other bestsellers. And he's bought copies for everybody in his company, and he's forced them to read it and to apply it. And it's like when people start reading it, I have a lot of people that you can listen to it. We've got audiobooks too. I have a lot of people that will listen to it or read it, and then they'll read it a second time and start making notes all over the place. And the reason is because This is human nature. This is how we interact with people, and we start to realize, oh, that's why everybody likes this guy. Oh, that's why everybody likes that guy. That's why this comedian is successful. That's why these products are successful. Huh. And you start to understand it. Two things happen. First is you start thinking it to apply it yourself, but you start recognizing it all over the place. You can hear that and say, oh, I know that's going to be successful. Squatty potty. Duh. I mean, there are certain things, and it's like, there are just so many of those. I mean, Famous Amos, he didn't have a lot of money, but he died just recently, I think last year, but he was massively wealthy. He became a multimillionaire as a result of what he did with Famous Amos cookies are good, but, just because they're good to friends, how do you get 1 million people eating your cookies?
Exactly.
And so Famous Amos is like, oh, that's interesting.
Mm.
And so when you start to learn that, that's what's fun. That's what's so much fun about this, is because this is the essence of human behavior.
Mhm.
It's the essence of how we interact. And when you understand that, it applies. That's why I get people all the time calling me or telling. I have this guy, let's see if I got this, but who was telling me he created this incredible, I don't have it here, but I do have it somewhere. But there are just so many good examples that I get, that people start showing me, here's how I applied it and how it is. And it just became really powerful. Here it is. This guy, his name is David Gabbard. And he's a photographer, and he got into drones, and now he makes a fortune in drones.
Mm.
So for real estate. And his slogan is, I fly, they buy.
That's good.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
So he uses it for two types of people. Okay. The first type of people he uses it for is realtors. He says, I fly, they buy. You want people to buy your things? I fly, they buy. I'm going to fly over and take pictures of the in the neighborhood and everything else, and it's going to really help them. They go, oh, I fly, they buy. Oh, interesting. And now what he's doing is he's putting together a program to train people how to make money with drones. Okay. And it's the same slogan, I fly, they buy.
Mm.
Okay. But it's just, when people come up with stuff like that, it's fun to hear it because, it's just like, oh, wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That grabbed my attention.
Right.
That does make a lot of sense. Well, James, I think we both learned a lot. I am honestly fairly considering buying this book just because I wanna learn.
Got 11 more methods.
So I don't know if you came on here to sell us, but I feel sold. So you
Just to share.
consider it a win. So you're one step closer to that 10 million. So we'll get you there.
Oh yeah.
Before we go, do you want to shout yourself out in any way? Shout anything out?
Well, check out yesbrainglue.com. That'll be fun.
Mm.
And everything else, life is short. Have fun. And I think for everybody, have fun. And if you're going to create a product, or if you have a product or service, or you're just trying to make some extra money, or if you just want to have fun in your life, hopefully you'll get the book. But even if you don't get the book, that's fine. Think of the 3 things I talked about. Start with a metaphor. It's just like, complete that and have the most fun you can with it. It's just like a naked guy running through your backyard. Okay. Have as much fun with it as possible. It's just like, and then the second thing is alliteration, the repetition of sounds like goo, goo, boo, boo, Coca-Cola, Best Buy, TikTok, and then the third one is rhyme. And take the words that you would use to describe it, and then find other words that rhyme with that. And I think that if you do that, you're going to start to have a lot of fun. And so that's, I think, start with those metaphor, alliteration, and rhyme, and you'll have just so much fun. And get the book. Yes, Brain Glue will at least tell you. But even if you don't get the book, don't worry about it. But there's lots of really cool stuff there.
All right.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Bond.
Oh, thank you
Sounds
guys.
so
You
cool.
guys are
Drop
awesome.
it again.
You guys are so relaxed. I'm sitting in a chair. You guys are like really enjoying yourselves there. It's
Hey,
awesome.
we love it. We love doing it like this. We love talking to people like you. It's like you said, it's the way the world works. It's about human connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what our show's all about.
Exactly.
Well, James,
You guys are awesome. You
thank
guys
you.
rock.
Appreciate that.
You are too, man. Much appreciated, sir.
Well, James, have a great rest of your day, and we'll hear from you shortly, or you'll hear from us shortly about the release of this episode.
Hell yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. You have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Well, guys, that was James Bond.
I like that guy.
He was chill.
Chill.
Let's use some of the 3 tools that he just gave us and try to think of a slogan for the Yap Squad.
We yap, you fap. No.
Nah, I'm not feeling that one. You listen to the app while you crap. The App Squad, where you're here, your family.
I feel like you stole that one.
No. The App Squad. I like that.
This is sick. What a good name.
The App Squad. I was really just hoping that he would just tell us something when I asked him.
Yeah, maybe I thought he was going to give us a banger, maybe.
But no. The App Squad.
Runs naked in your backyard. No.
The App Squad. Think Fast Squad.
Yapping capping.
All yap. All yap,
all
no cap.
There's a lot of cap.
All yap, all cap. All caps, because caps lock is broken.
Cap's broken.
All yap, stay strapped.
Be in the hood.
See, this is why I use fucking ChatGPT.
Maybe we got to start using brainglue.ai.
I want to send him that and just be like, so you know, because your thing is trademarked, by the way. So
like, he didn't seem surprised by that. We probably should have asked him, like, is that yours? But
yeah. So guys, we found an AI tool while we were doing research on this product, and it is called Brain Glue AI.
That's the thing too, is like the purpose of the AI
is to do exactly what he said.
So like, I don't know, man.
We'll see. I actually am going to send it to him and be like, you could take this down, I think.
You could definitely sue this guy because he's probably making back.
Yeah. Guys, this was our first year of the App Squad. We hope you enjoyed your stay. We hope you enjoyed the guest. We have another great one coming up next week. Hopefully Mamba wakes up for it. And
just here on time every time.
Hey, when I told you what time it was, you were like, we'll see.
Oh, that one.
The only one.
It's like 9 a.m. That's early, bro.
Yeah.
For the unemployed, that's crazy.
You want me to wake up at a time where I can wake up at any time?
Dude, hey, if that's not crazy, put the episode out at 9 a.m. Our episode's going to be like 5.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't get it. So,
anyways, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Go ahead and follow Mamba on twitch.tv/Mamba_opens. He is live every day. Follow me on twitch.tv/Nemo². I'm live every Saturday. Other than that, guys, we don't really got much going on. Just follow up all the App Squad socials. Follow the rest of our other socials. They'll be linked down below. Go check out James I. Bond. His links will be down below as well. If you enjoyed this episode, put down in the comments what you think. A good slogan or something using those tools that he taught us. What can we do to make this better? We'll steal your ideas instead.
Kill your... Oh, can't say that.
Guys, this is the App Squad signing out.